Hi, and welcome to How to Get Started as a Mortgage Loan Officer with me, Suzanne Keeter. I am an account executive recruiter for Obsidian Financial Services. And I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to watch this video. I hope it will be very informative for you, give you some next steps, give you some things to think about. Because I'm going to shoot it to you straight, so to speak. I want you to make a very formed a decision as you move forward in contemplating what your next steps for your career would be. So with that, let's get started. So in this video, we'll go over several things. To start with, we will understand what is required to become a licensed mortgage loan officer. We will then discuss who this position, this loan officer role would be great for, and more importantly, who this is not for, because this is not for everybody. Like I said, I'm going to give it to you straight. We will also talk about risks, some anticipated expenses, and what the upside possibilities could be for being a mortgage loan officer. And then we'll talk about the two very generic types of jobs in terms of loan officers. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little bit more information about Obsidian and what our loan officer opportunity details are. So with that, let's continue. So let's first off discuss what is this, what is required. I apologize. I was trying to make this bigger. What is required to become a mortgage loan officer? So there are four basic things. First of all, you need an NMLS number. I'll go through what the requirements are, and then I will actually show you how, where to go to get more information or how to start setting things up. So number one is your NMLS number. Number two is that you need to complete a pre-licensing course. So let's talk about that for just a second. There are two types of courses that you would be required to complete. One is the National 20-Hour Mortgage Pre-Licensing Course. So that's national. That's regardless of what state you live in. You have to complete the National 20-Hour Pre-Licensing Course. Then, depending on what state you plan to be licensed in, each state is different in terms of what they require. Some states require a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hour course. Some states, for example, like North Carolina, require a 4 hour course. Some, like Wisconsin, for example, don't require any additional coursework. You just pay a fee. In all instances, you will pay a fee to get state licensed. Each state, again, is different with their licensing amounts. And again, I'll show you where to go to find all that. So number three is after you've completed your coursework, your 20-hour mortgage license coursework, and your whatever state requirements you have, then you got to pass a test. And so it can get a little challenging. So I would highly recommend, if you're serious about this, your main objective is passing that exam the first time around, because it will cost you in terms of money and time if you don't. So I highly recommend investing in some type of cram workbook, course, study group, etc., to help you pass that test on the first try. And that exam will also include whatever state requirements you are required. So it's not like you have to take 2 exams for this first step. It's all included, usually. And then the fourth thing is that you then, through the NMLS, go through a background check where your fingerprints are taken, and they do a criminal background check. In some instances, I think a credit background check will also be the case. But these days your fingerprinting is digital, so you're not going to have ink all over your fingers for the most part. So let's look to see now where to go to do these 4 items. So the first step is I'm going to take you to the page that you are on, which is my future loan officer next steps page, because I have now conveniently linked most of these sections. So the first step, which was NMLS number, take me to the NMLS website, click that button, and it will start stepping you through the individual state licenses. Now, this is for people who do not work for a company, which most likely is you right now. So you're doing this as an individual. So you would step 3, create an account, go through, click this button, go through all of that. Then go through, log back in step 4, do an attestation quick guide, etc. Just to get the number, because you need the number. That is the magic step. So then, because you will need a number when you go to step number 2, which is pre-licensing, they would most likely require that you provide your NMLS number when you sign up to take the course. So where do you go to find the courses? The site that I recommend is this site here, which is when you go back to my site, sorry, click the mortgage pre-licensing course exam button, and it will take you to the Affinity website. This is a national mortgage and real estate pre-licensing site. It has great reviews. I highly recommend it. You have a choice of doing a 10-day or a 5-day, depending on how much time you have. And it's online, and then they have an exam prep mastery course. You can do combinations, etc. The continuing ed, that's for later, that is not for now. You just need to worry about pre-licensing. So you can choose one of these, and then there's the mastery course. I highly recommend that, adding that so you can pass your test on the first try. So there are other classes. You can do a Google search about mortgage license pre-licensing course in your area. You're not obligated to use this. I just think this is a great site to start. So then step 3 is exam. So like we just said, I would highly recommend that you sign up for some kind of cram. This is a great prep course. You can do the live or an online version. But again, I highly recommend doing something. So then step 4 then is back to once you've completed the exam, the institution where you completed your course and your exam will then alert the NMLS that you have completed those items. And then that is where you are notified to do the background check, which is again through the NMLS, here. Okay, so let's continue. So who is this for? Who is the mortgage loan officer role for? Who's it best for? Because again, like I said, it is not for everyone. So I just, again, did a high-level summary. The people that this would be a great fit for are people who want to help people. You're very purpose-driven to help people. It's not just about the money. When you help people, money will come. That's always the case. That you have a sales background. And what I mean by sales is not like, used car salesman or anything like that. It can be at any capacity where you're working with someone else and you are explaining, describing benefits to whatever product or service that you happen to be offering that solves a problem. Because that is in essence what sales means. So I know that most people have an aversion to the term sales. It sounds slimy because that's just what we're told. It's slimy. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a consultant, whatever, Just think of sales as you're explaining benefits of a product or service that's going to solve a problem for whoever is standing in front of you, or you're on the phone with, or you're emailing or texting. So that's how my favorite billionaire, Grant Cardone, basically defines the problem. So, I mean, or the definition. So this is, any kind of sales. So this could be a customer service type role, anything. So it's not just any title that happens to have a sales in your job description or role title. This is really any experience that you can pull from, that you're talking to somebody and you're communicating with them with whatever benefits or features that would solve a problem. So the third bucket is entrepreneurial, and I'm sure I misspelled that. That looks really weird, so I apologize. I'm trying to get this video out as fast as possible. And what I mean entrepreneurial is that you're building a business, that you don't need to be babysat at every step. The people who are more business mind focused, it doesn't matter what it is. If you've tried an MLM in the past, or you've, sold something for a charity, to help, raise money or something, that's all entrepreneurial. So you don't have to, I've, started 3 companies and I've sold them. That's not what we're talking about. That is what we're talking about, but it can be any facet of that. You're very business focused in essence, whether you've had that experience or, more importantly, you have not. And then the fourth thing is communicate. That is a huge factor in any facet of your life where you expect to be successful. You need to be able to communicate clearly, simply, and frequently, and be consistent about it, because that is truly the keys to success. Whenever you're working with clients, you need to be able to clearly articulate what the benefits are that solves a problem. You can need to clearly communicate updates to them, where they are in the process, especially to your real estate agent partners, etc. That is really the key to any success. So who is this not for? Who is the mortgage loan officer role really not for? Because again, it's not for everybody, and that's okay. That's okay. It is not a get rich scheme. If you're just looking to make a quick buck, this is not for you. This is not. I mean, you can get rich slowly, but you're not going to set the world on fire the first day that you are a loan officer. So please don't have any kind of unrealistic expectations. Now, the sky's the limit, but it's all in how and how much you work on it. If you have had no experience whatsoever talking to people, this is not for you. And I wouldn't say, if this is not for shy people. I am very shy. I am an introvert. I am very shy at parties. I don't want to talk to anybody, but that's not how I am when it's, my career, when this is business. You have to be able to, have at least some level of confidence in yourself and your abilities to talk to people. So that's a big one. If this is not a real long-term career strategy for you, if you're thinking, I'll be a loan officer for maybe this year, and then I'll switch to being an agent next year, and then I'll get into insurance, because that's really when I want to go. This is not for you. Why invest in all of the pre-licensing coursework and time and effort and stuff if this is not going to be, at least a 2 to 3 year, strategy for your career? And if you're not willing to invest in yourself in terms of hard work, time, money, to bettering your mortgage loan officer skill set, why don't we just call it even right now? So there's a lot of work that comes with sharpening your career business tool. And you should be aware right now, this is, it's not going to go, you're not going to just take this pre-licensing course and suddenly know everything there is to know about mortgages. That I apologize in advance, that's not the case. So what are the risks simple expenses, upside, etc. So here's some of the, again, from a pre-licensing perspective, you're looking at least 400 to 600, depending on where you happen to be of upfront costs. Plus, you'll have annual expenses. You'll have your annual license sponsorship, CE courses, continuing ed, all that stuff that is required by the NMLS. That is not something that you can get out of. That is required if you expect to have an active license and be able to conduct business. So those, you just have to be aware. And then whatever company you're with, there might be additional fees there as well. In terms of, you won't earn commission for 60 to 120 days. That could be a risk. It could be. That is not a guaranteed risk. That could be just simply on what type of role you end up accepting as when you become a loan officer. If this is a commission only job, then it is straight up to you and your efforts of hustle, hard work to get out in front of people, to help as many people as possible with a purchase or refi, and that will dictate when you ultimately get paid. If you get your license, go sit with have it sponsored with a company, no matter what kind of lender it is, and you sit there and you don't do anything, guess what? You're not getting paid. So it's all up to you. If you get with a company that quote unquote provides leads and that is your only source of, getting in front of people, which I would frankly say that could be one of many, you should be, divesting yourself in terms of how many, how you reach people and get in front of people. But, you could be at the mercy of really terrible leads, and in 6 months you haven't gotten a real paycheck, and you're going to say, I hate mortgages, and then you're off to something else. That's a risk you need to be aware of. And then you could get with a company that has really long processing and underwriting turn times. And you may not understand this now, but the risk to that is that you could lose clients. If you have a company that for whatever reason, they don't have their act together, they've got it completely outsourced, that, whatever, you can lose clients that way. And then it's bad for you personally in terms of your brand, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you go with in terms of a lender or brokerage. Somebody who wants to do a mortgage with you is not doing it because you're happen to be with ABC, lender or mortgage. They're doing business with you as a person because you've established that relationship. You have spent the time to build that trust with the client. And so it's going to reflect negatively on you, not necessarily the company, when your client can't close for 60, 90, or God forbid, even longer than that. And that you have to be aware of that, because that's happening now in this industry, and it's horrible. So just be aware of that. So what would be the upsides? Well, obviously money. Money would be an upside. Depending on, again, what company you go with, what lender, what the role, and we'll talk about the job types in just a second. In terms of commission or pay structure, what that means, if it's a salary, and a little commission, or it's some kind of structured commission, etc. The sky's the limit, honestly. So that's number one. Number two is growth potential. So you could get with a company that has, team leaders, sales managers, etc. You just keep moving up on the ladder based on your experience and your skill set of leadership. There's certainly growth there, as well as many companies have branch manager opportunities where you own your own branch. And boy, that's at least 7 figures right there. So there's growth potential. That's exciting. And then 3, I love it because you are either directly or indirectly, you're bettering your community. The people that you work with, just think of your first time home buyers. They just got into it. They finally got into a property. They're very excited. You've helped them build wealth. they're improving that property with cash out refis based on the explosive equity that they're experiencing over the next 2 years or more. They're bettering their property, they're bettering their community, and everybody, it's a win-win all around. So that's what I also love, that the true impact you have. So let's talk about loan officer role types. So I just summarized it into 2 basic categories. Now you're going to see various flavors, when you start doing your due diligence. And I absolutely recommend that you do your due diligence, especially if you've talked to me in the past. I highly recommend that you know everything that there is to know as to what your options are for this huge next step, because it is a huge next step. And you don't want to just be flip-flopping back and forth, all over the board every other couple of months, finding that right, lender to hang your license with. So here are the 2 basic paths. And let me just read the disclaimer. There's no right or wrong here. This is, it's what's best for you. And so there is no right or wrong, but I want you to be aware of what these 2 factors are, these 2 job types are, and how that would impact you. So let's talk about the first one, this employee, which I call a W-2, because that's just the way your taxes are. So this job description will be a very strict job qualifications. They could ask for, at least a year's experience, etc. This might be a little more challenging to actually get in terms of getting, you accepted for this role. There could be, there will be very strict salary and or commission structure. You may have like a very low base salary. And then you might get a very small flat fee commission or a very small percentage of commission, etc., per loan. So per closed loan. And there might be some requirements around how many loans you have to close per month. What I failed to list on here is that most likely the companies like this will provide you company leads. So you might just be, sitting and waiting for a phone to ring, and you've got to have at least, 20 calls done, or outbound or inbound, depending on what it is. You may have call requirements, like you have to make 100 calls per day. Or whatever it is. There might be some strict quotas, goals, in, positive and negatively. Like if you meet this or exceed that, then you get this bonus or this vacation or whatever. Or in the other, on the flip side, if you don't meet this within 90 days, you're out. So, you have to make sure that you are reading everything as part of that job description, that application. Ask as many questions as you can in an interview process to make sure you're completely informed of what is being asked of you. It would be a stable income, because this is, a salary. So you know that, okay, at least I'm going to make 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 next month, so I can plan to pay my mortgage, my rent, my bills, my, my car, etc. There most likely will be a structured training period, whether it be 2 weeks, a month, etc. And then you have to complete this training, do whatever qualifications that they require. Then you'll be set free to, start working with people with loans. Then there will most likely, and again, ask this question because this is a big one. They may have loan structure restrictions based on company policy. So it could be, for example, there might be an origination point automatically charged on every loan, whether it be a purchase or refi, whether it be a borrower with great credit or not so great credit, and that's it. So just make sure that you understand what policies the company has in terms of loan structure. And then also I'll ask what types of loans they offer as well. Because if it's just, yeah, they got 3 or 4 products, this could be a credit union, credit unions, mortgages are not their bread and butter. I'll let you know right now, that is not, they don't make money, that's not their biggest income producing product. Checking, savings, all that stuff, that's their bread and butter. So they may, they like, oh, well, we probably should offer some mortgages to our members as well. Let's get, 1 or 2 at least, so they're, and if, and if their qualifications, you have to have a 680 or above credit score, then how are you going to help anybody else? So that'll be very limiting in terms of your business. So again, ask these questions. So micromanagement. So this one is, you're going to have a manager. They will probably set quotas for you. They will manage your time. Oh, you didn't come in right at 9 this morning. Where were you? Oh, you have to ask them if you can get off to tomorrow for a dental appointment. That kind of stuff. Those of you that's been in the that have been in the workforce for a while, you know what I'm talking about. And there will be in-office requirements. So I know we're on the backside of COVID, but there will be some in-office requirements, especially if it's more of a call center kind of job, where again you're sitting in a large call center, waiting for the phone to ring. That you will definitely be required to be sitting in that seat. There might be some remote opportunities, but for the most part, it's going to be in office because they want to see you. Because I hate to say this, they don't trust you. So that goes back to the micromanaging as well. So that's just my personal opinion. There might be some shift work required. So especially again in a call center situation, you might be working second shift, third shift, first shift. You might flip flop around. You need to ask these questions again. How you need to know what the next month's going to bring. You can't just, oh well, now you flipped from first to third. What? So you again ask these questions. There will be some finite period of time where you have to show up and be online. I just use 9 to 5 as just the norm, but it could be 8 to 6. Those are all over the place. And you need to be, available. You need to have whatever, corporate communication tool that they use, whether it be Teams or Skype or, Slack or whatever it is. Your little green light should be on. So, if you're working remotely or in the office, they will check stuff like that. You may be required to work weekends. There's, little to no time freedom. So you have to ask if if your child has a performance, a school performance at 3, whatever, you'll have to plan ahead, ask for that time off. So there's not the time freedom. They may ask you for additional background check, like a drug test, etc., especially if you're working in an office. And then on the bonus side, on the plus side, I know that sounded kind of negative there. They may offer you healthcare, dental, vision, etc., insurance. They may do some kind of 401k where they match up to 3%, etc., based on what you also, put in, etc. They may have other retirement plans and stuff available. They may have other, unique, benefits, like they may have a ping pong table in, the break room or something, whatever it is. They may have, like incentive vacations and stuff like that. And they will have some level of paid vacation days / sick leave. So it could start at something, like 5 days per year until you've worked so many, months or days or whatever, and then it could pop to 10 or whatever. Again, you need to make sure that you are understanding everything that they offer you and that you are required to do. So that's all I'll say about that. So then, entrepreneur, 1099. So this side of the house is going to be looser in terms of requirements, structure, and money and freedom. So there might be less job requirements or experience required. Obviously, in both of these scenarios, a license is going to be required. I haven't seen one yet that doesn't, unless it's a credit union. But for the most part, a license is going to be required. This could be some form of commission. Usually it's commission only, 100%. There could be a draw just to get you started. Maybe there's like a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day kind of agreement where, to get you up and running, you might get a draw of so many, whatever period. But then when you start closing deals, it's going to come back out. There should be some unlimited income. Oh, I forgot one. Sorry. There will most likely be commission caps or splits. And so what I mean by this is when you either read the job description or when you get an interview, ask this if they don't tell you. There could be a tiered approach for caps, for commission caps, like 1% or 100 BPS. Per loan. So if, the loan is, I don't know, total of 5,000 in commission, you only get 500, because that's 1%. Then, or splits, if it's, if it's a split, the total commission is 5,000, but you only see 1,500 of that. So that's because and the company gets the rest. That's a split. There's usually, based even with some kind of commission structure, there's still unlimited income because your effort is directly equated to the number of money, of income you make. So if you're working hard, you're out there hustling, getting in front of people, and you've got a big pipeline, you'll get paid for it. Whereas it doesn't matter over here, basically how hard or how long you work, you're in essence still making them roughly the same. Because their commissions over here are going to probably be flat, like $100 per closed loan, etc. It's not going to be a whole lot because they're investing more time, more effort, and more money in you. Whereas over here, you've got more money, more freedom. And so that's where the unlimited income comes. There will be some, there'll be training. Sometimes it will be structured. Sometimes you got to pay for training. So another thing, you better, read the fine print, ask those questions. You could be paying for training. You could be paying for a required mentor for the first 12 months because you are new. What does that look like? But for the most part, it is a little bit freer in terms of training. You may or may not have a manager. It won't be that traditional manager like, okay, where are you this morning? I didn't see you at 9:15. Where were you? Whatever. It's not going to be that kind of micromanager. It will be more of a support role where they're ensuring that you've got your questions answered, you've got your loans, clean, etc. They may do a deal review. It's more of a support role, which I like. You will have more flexibility in terms of structuring loans for the most part. You may need to ask this question to make sure you understand. And where this may be a little too much right now, but where this really makes an impact for you and your business is, my previous, they're going to charge one origination point, which is 1% on every loan. And you may or may not see any of that, but where that's going to be impactful is when you're trying to be competitive with borrowers with great credit. And because, they went to LendingTree, they've got 14 other lenders and loan officers after them with all kinds of crazy, scenarios. Oh, you don't have to pay this or that. And they're not going to want to pay it. So somebody who comes right off the gate with one origination point as a fee, you're going to be out just like that. Nobody's going to pay that with a great credit score. So just, again, understand what you're getting into. Then certainly it would be more of a flexible work schedule. Anywhere from, okay, well, as long as I am, available during these hours, I can do whatever I want. Or you create the schedule yourself because you're an adult. So, and there could be flexible work locations. You know, most of the time it's going to be remote now because of COVID, and there may most likely be not any kind of office requirements, no commute for you. There will not be, because most likely this is going to be commission only, there will not be any paid days. So when you want off, you can take a month off, but you're not getting paid for it. So just be aware of that. And then if you're sick for whatever reason, you take that time off and go get better, but you're not getting paid for it. Then you have the choice of when you work. So usually there's not going to be any kind of, okay, we really need you this Saturday to be, you know, working from 1 to 7, whatever. They're not going to do that to you. But I highly recommend you will be working on weekends if you have real estate agent partners. And then there might be a smattering of some kind of company benefits and like healthcare, etc. But don't expect any, because they're giving you money, because they're giving you a lot more money than they would over here. So with all of that, let me just really briefly go over what Obsidian Financial Services loan officer opportunity is. So who are we looking for? Who do we need? Well, we need that sales experience, again, like I defined earlier. We need that license, just the way I defined earlier. We need somebody who can communicate this, again, the same way I defined earlier. And we need someone who is entrepreneurial. So who are we? So this is going to be kind of different than anything probably that you've already seen so far, because again, you should be doing your due diligence. So we are a direct lender, but we have a hybrid business model approach. We are direct lending, so we have loans under that umbrella, but we also have a brokerage side of the house. So what that means to you as a loan officer is that you can say yes to more people for the most part. We can't guarantee yeses for everyone, but you have a greater opportunity. We have a wide loan product range. We use the latest technology. We have cloud-based pricing and loan origination and communication tools. And so what that means to you is that you are not tied to a computer all day, and you can access these tools from your phone. So when you're out at the grocery store, I don't know what it is, but every time I go to the grocery store, my phone is ringing. Oh, could you do this for me? Could you do that for me? Sure, no problem. I can do that standing in the, you know, fresh vegetable aisle. Boom. We have experienced processing and underwriting. We have over 35 combined years of processing that provides consistency. We don't have any fresh, brand new processors or underwriters that would like, how do you pull title? Yeah, none of that. And we can get loans closed fast because of the technology, because of the experience. And we are licensed in 20 states. And so how we work is where we're licensed in a state and you have a license in that state, you can do business. You don't have to live there. So just a quick rundown. You can pause this video to see all the stuff, but here's, you know, the client types and loan programs that we offer. And as you can see, there's a few. So what's in it for you? So with Obsidian, and again, please contact me if you've heard of a company that does this, because so far I have not. This is what makes Obsidian stand out. We have no commission caps or splits. So when you go to structure a loan and you see how much you're going to make on the back end off of the rate, which is not disclosed at closing, and then you have the freedom to choose whatever origination points you want to charge or not, you have that freedom. You have flexible working and remote opportunities. And right now we also offer healthcare insurance. So isn't that great? So training and support, again, you're an adult. How about that? We have self-paced, self-serve on-demand training. We have an intranet filled with 70 plus videos, templates, forms galore. We do twice a month, or every other month, Monday actually. We do new loan officer orientation training, which is 2 hours, and it's a deep dive from start to finish using the 2 tools that we use. And so it's also recorded. You can watch it as many times as you want. You can take that training as many times as you want. Again, it's flexible, and it will get you started pronto. And then certainly we have training on products, etc., as they come along. We just got one this Wednesday. We have 100% FHA financing. I'm like, what? So, and then of course you would be assigned an account executive. Again, this person is more of a support role to help with any kind of loan scenario questions, do deal reviews to make sure you've got all of your pieces and parts together for your loan before they, you click that submit to processing button so it can get closed quickly. And so because we don't have any real structure around our commission, the best that we can do is take an average. We have over 200 loan officers at this time, that's growing, and they are averaging 2 to 4% in commissions per loan. So if you do some quick math, if you're closing like 3 loans a month, which is ridiculously simple, and that closed loan volume, that's closed loan volume of $1 million, you're earning on average about $20,000 a month, not a year. And so this is where your efforts, your hard work, your consistency is really gonna pay off. So what we offer is simply freedom and money. Freedom to structure a loan to meet your client's needs and earn the commission that you want, because you define that, not Obsidian. So bonus, anybody who again is ready to move forward in becoming an Obsidian loan officer, when they sign up with me, Suzanne Keeter down here, you get a little bit extra. So it's, so one last thing for you to worry about. I provide a free lead management software where it includes a customer relationship management database, CRM. It includes AI, artificial intelligence based automated follow-up. So as soon as somebody's clicking a button, they're getting a text, they're getting a voicemail drop, they're getting a Facebook Messenger, whatever it is, they're immediately engaging with you. And then you get your own complete landing page that you have full rights to customize any way you want. And the follow-up includes text, email, calls, and voicemail drops. I never touch my phone. I use the software 100%. I call, I text, I email, I Facebook message, all that jazz from this software, and it's free to you. So next steps would be go get your license. So go complete the licensing requirements for national and whatever state you happen to be in, and make sure it is in a state, if you want to move forward with Obsidian, that Obsidian has a license in, and you'll see that information at the bottom of my my page where you originally were, which is right down here. So here's all the states that we are currently in, and I'll keep this updated. So just check the page for more information. And with that, I look forward to absolutely talking to you and ultimately working with you. Thank you for your time.